What if everything you thought you knew about Oz was a lie? Wicked flips the story of the Wizard of Oz on its head, diving into the lives of Elphaba, the so-called Wicked Witch of the West, and Glinda, the Good Witch. In Act 2, alliances are broken, dark secrets unravel, and a battle for truth takes center stage. But here's the real question: who's truly wicked? As betrayal, heartbreak, and sacrifice collide, the lines between hero and villain blur. By the end, you'll see Oz and its witches in a way you never expected. Stay tuned to discover the truth. For those who've already watched Wicked, Act 1 and can't bear the thought of waiting a whole year to find out how the story ends with Act 2, we've got you covered. Here's a detailed recap of Act 2 from the hit musical, packed with all the drama, twists, and emotional moments you've been dying to see. Fair warning, spoilers ahead. Ready? Let's dive in. Sometime later, Elphaba remains missing, her opposition to the wizard having earned her the title of the Wicked Witch of the West, and rumors of her evil deeds circulating. Glinda, who has become a propaganda tool for the regime, and is now known as Glinda the Good, attempts to cheer up the people of Oz during a press conference. Madame Morrible announces Glinda's engagement to Fiyero, who has accepted the position of captain of the guard only to try to locate Elphaba. Annoyed by the absurd stories told about his friend, including one that says contact with water can dissolve her, Fiyero reproaches Glinda for agreeing to be part of this farce. She defends herself and tells him that he is not the only one who misses Elphaba, but that they have to move on with their lives since she may not want to be found. Fiyero leaves in sorrow, and Glinda tries to maintain her composure in front of the crowd, although inside she begins to realize the price she is paying for making her dreams come true. Elphaba returns to the family home in search of support, but there she discovers that her father has died and that Nessarose is now the new ruler of Munchkinland. Nessarose, in a desperate attempt to keep Bok by her side, has suppressed the freedoms of the Munchkin people and has become a despotic ruler. The young girl refuses to join her sister's cause and reproaches her for never using her powers to help her. Then, Elphaba casts an enchantment that transforms Nessarose's silver shoes into ruby red shoes, granting her the ability to walk. Nessarose calls Bok eager to share the good news, but he interprets this as a sign that she doesn't need him anymore and announces his intention to leave Munchkinland, as he wants to see Glinda as soon as possible and confess his feelings to her. Angry, Nessarose grabs the grimoire and tries to use it to make the boy fall in love with her, but the spell backfires and Bok's heart begins to shrink. Elphaba intervenes and manages to save the young Munchkin's life with another enchantment, while a repentant Nessarose breaks down and assumes that for her actions, she does deserve to be called the Wicked Witch of the East. Seeing that things between the two will never work out, Elphaba says goodbye and leaves for the Emerald City. Bok, who had lost consciousness, awakens and realizes, horrified, that he has been transformed into a Tin Man, the only way Elphaba could find for him to survive without a heart. However, Nessarose hides the truth from her and blames her sister for everything. Back in the Emerald City, Elphaba is surprised by the wizard while trying to free the winged monkeys. The man tries to manipulate her into becoming his ally and tells her how she came to her position, almost by accident, simply by telling the people of Oz what they wanted to hear. Elphaba is on the verge of succumbing when she discovers that among the imprisoned animals is Dr. Dillamond, now deprived of all ability to speak. Enraged, the young woman challenges the wizard again and he warns the guard. Fiyero answers the call followed by Glinda, but instead of arresting Elphaba, the captain decides to run away with her despite his fiancé's pleas. Feeling betrayed, Glinda suggests to the wizard and Madame Morrible that they use Nessarose as bait to catch Elphaba. Alone, the girl laments that Fiyero has never loved her. In a nearby forest, Elphaba and Fiyero confess their love for each other and promise to always stay together, Suddenly, the girl begins to have a strange vision in which a house appears flying through the sky and deduces that Nessarose is in danger. Before Elphaba leaves to investigate, Fiyero tells her about a castle his family owns in Kiamoko that she can use as a hiding place. Meanwhile, Dorothy Gale's farm is swept away by a tornado from Kansas, and when it crashes into Munchkinland, it crushes Nessarose, killing her instantly. Glinda is the first to arrive and sends the girl to the Emerald City via the Yellow Brick Road. Just then, a distraught Elphaba appears and reproaches Glinda for having given Dorothy the ruby slippers, the only memory he could have of his sister. The two witches then engage in an argument, but are interrupted by the guard who comes to arrest Elphaba. Fiyero comes to the rescue and takes Glinda hostage, allowing Elphaba to escape. The guards seize the captain and hang him from a pole to make him reveal the hiding place of the Wicked Witch of the West. From a distance, Elphaba tries to cast a spell to protect Fiyero, but feeling that all her decisions have ended disastrously, the young woman decides to honor her fame and give up any attempt to do good. Encouraged by gossip, the citizens of Oz prepare to hunt down the Wicked Witch of the West. Bach, now the Tin Man, contributes to the climate of hatred by blaming Elphaba for her new condition, while pointing out her as responsible for the cowardly character developed by the lion that she and Fiyero released some time ago. Glinda discovers that Madame Morrible is behind the tornado that caused Nessarose's death, since her specialty is the control of meteorological phenomena, but the director reminds her that she has been a fundamental part of the plot and that she also has blood on her hands. Horrified, Glinda runs away to warn Elphaba while the crowd heads to Kiamoko Castle, March of the Witch Hunters. Elphaba manages to catch Dorothy and takes her prisoner to Kiamoko, refusing to release her until she returns Nessarose's ruby slippers. Glinda arrives and begs her to let the girl go before it is too late. Their conversation is interrupted by a winged monkey who brings a letter with news from Fiyero. Elphaba reads the letter and informs Glinda that the young man has died. Seeing that the time has come to surrender, Elphaba gives Glinda the grimoire and makes her promise never to try to clear her name, as everyone would turn against her. The two friends make peace and confess that they are now better versions of themselves because of having met each other. The crowd arrives and Elphaba tells Glinda to hide. From her hiding place, Glinda witnesses Elphaba dissolve after Dorothy throws a bucket of water on her, leaving only her hat and a bottle of green elixir that belonged to her mother and that she always carried with her. Back in the Emerald City, Glinda confronts the wizard and finds out that he is actually Elphaba's biological father, and therefore responsible for her being born with green skin. Madame Morrible concludes that Elphaba was so powerful because she was the daughter of two worlds. Glinda forces the wizard to leave Oz aboard his hot air balloon and sends Madame Morrible to prison. Meanwhile, at Kiamoko Castle, a Scarecrow comes to the place where Dorothy threw the bucket of water on Elphaba. The Scarecrow is none other than Fiyero, who was made to take that form by Elphaba's enchantment to protect him from torture by the guards. Suddenly, Elphaba emerges from a trap door, and it is revealed that it was all a ruse by the two to fake her death so they could escape their enemies. Before leaving, Elphaba regrets not being able to tell Glinda that she and Fiyero are alive. The action picks up where the story left off, with the people of Oz celebrating the death of the Wicked Witch of the West. A grieving Glinda vows to live up to her name and fight evil from then on, as Elphaba and Fiyero walk away to start a new life together. Why Wicked and not the Joker? True fans of the Wicked musical could answer this simple question with many arguments, but aimed exclusively at a movie-going audience, the most accurate answer would be: the story of the Wonderful Wizard of Oz has been a musical practically since it was written. It was a musical 100 years ago and has been one of the most successful and current musicals of the last 20 years. The chronology of this famous story went from being a book, a musical, a movie, a new book adapted from the original story, a new musical, a new movie. One of the reasons for its success is the original cast. Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth played the lead roles, and the musical was nominated for 10 Tony Awards, ultimately winning in the categories of Best Leading Actress, Best Set Design, and Best Costume Design. It currently ranks 4th on the list of longest-running shows in Broadway history and has earned more than $1.5 billion, a figure only surpassed by the New York production of The Lion King. The usual audience for a superhero movie, especially in a darker, more realistic parallel world. It just doesn't fit the parameters. It's not enough to hire a singer to perform musicals throughout the film. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo look like they've been waiting for this role all their lives. Wickiator effect. The original release scheduled for November 27th is brought forward because of the Thanksgiving holiday, which gave a break to the release of Moana 2 on the same date. With a week already in theaters, box office figures indicate it has grossed more than $160 million worldwide. The musical will have no trouble going down in history as the biggest debut ever for a Broadway adaptation. Next year, we'll see the second half of the story come to life when Wicked Part 2 hits theaters. Each film cost $150 million to make, so the big opening will be a blockbuster. One of the main reasons for the excessive production cost is that the sets were built specifically for the film. No green screen effects were used. The director stated that he wanted to give the audience an immersive experience, recreating what The Wizard of Oz achieved in 1939. And boy, did he succeed. The color palette is simply incredible and appropriate for the film's script. If you like the video, I invite you to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to support this type of content from your favorite movies and series. So what do you think about this Barbenheimer 2.0 war? Will the pink side win this time? Leave me your opinion in the comments. See you in the next video.